Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what I think are my personal top 15 Tekky Toys Halloween animatronics from the mid 2000s to present day. Anyways, let's get started. Which you guys probably won't be shocked what my choices are, but anyways, I like watching top 10, top 15, top 20 videos. So I figured, why not do one myself of what I like? So here we go. And I'm going to try to put these in order on which ones I think are my top favorites. I'm going to go to number 1 best to top 15. Like the 15 is, it goes from best to least best. But like I said, these are my top 15. But I'm trying to pick the ones I like the most first. Number 1 is the 2010 Demonica. What a shocker, right? And note, most of these videos I'm screen recording are going to be the ones that I own, unless I don't have the animatronic. Because there are some on the list that I've never actually even had. Or did have, but didn't have footage of it. Or very much footage of it. And note, this is actually hard for me to do because I like almost all Tekky Toys items or Spirit Halloween animatronics. So it's really hard for me to narrow it down. But I'm trying my best to do my top favorites. Sorry guys, but I'm quickly changing my rule. I'm gonna make it top 20. Sorry, there's just too many I like, so I have to do top 20. Sorry for any inconvenience. Number 2 on my list is the 2011 Demonica. That's another shocker, isn't it? Like I said, those two that I had look so different from each other. Number 3 is Gruesome Granny. Number 4 is Gravedigger.
I'll wait till it's done. These hallowed grounds are strewn with rotted corpses.
Sorry, I got a little carried away with showing him. Number 5 is Resurrection Mary. The 2010 model with the light in its head. I don't like the 2011 model with the cut hair and no light. Number 6 is Wild Witch. Now, like I said, I used to have her, but only for one day. We didn't have a Spirit here in 2009. My grandma purchased her from Spirit in 2009 from Washington, D.C. And the motor that made it rise up and down, it had the same Demonica gearbox mechanism, and it burnt out. So we had to send it back, and we didn't get a replacement. But she was my favorite. I was actually quite creeped out by her because of how tall she is and the music she makes while she rises. Creeped me out. But I was still pretty young at the time. Sorry.
One of take a picture. Hey! Now!
Yeah, there's also a Wild Reaper. I mean, the witch is hard enough to find, but the Reaper is even more rare. The witch was sold at buycostumes.com, Spirit Halloween, and some other sites. I have no idea where the Reaper one was sold at. Okay, sorry this video is going so slow. It's just I want to show what props I'm talking about because there might be some people who don't know about some of these props, you know. Anyways, number 7 is Guardian of the Grave, especially when he's hooked up to the fog machine. I like my 2009 one the best though because it was low pitch compared to most. Most of them are high pitch. Well, a lot of 2009 ones were low pitch, and the 2009 ones have a 5-second delay. When you clap, they take a couple seconds to start up. But when you connect them to the fog machine, they blow the fog first, and then they start making noise and rise up. But 2010 through present day, they blow fog and rise at the same time. This fog machine was on timer mode. That fog machine isn't as powerful as this one is. That one blows way more fog. And here's what they're like without the fog.
It'll come up.
Number 8 is the Evil Cauldron Witch, a Spirit 2009, well, a 2009 animatronic sold at Spirit Halloween. Probably one of the rarest 2009 animatronics. And like I said, I do still have her, but I have to use the Rising Reapers with Pumpkin's base for it because her base fried in 2010. So it's kind of annoying.
Oh no!
This is what the witch is currently like. This was Spirit's demo video of her. When I first saw that video in 2009, I was actually pretty creeped out by her too, because I was new to Spirit Halloween animatronics back then. Like, I was used to a lot of Jimmy stuff. I didn't even know the difference between companies back then. But that Spirit stuff creeped me out a little bit, but then I started to really like it. And as soon as I started getting my first 2009 props, that's what opened the Spirit Halloween world to me. And Tekky Toys world. Also, here's a video where she was, where her sound was basically completely fried at this point. Her eyes were fried. The board, the eyes were dim. They weren't burnt out, but it was because the board. And eventually, she stopped going all the way up. She would only go out halfway, and then she stopped rising altogether. And then her board completely died.
This does not make noise anymore. It barely lights up anymore either. But it still moves.
Also, this video is when I think this was the last time her voice worked. She was just shorting out, well, in the process of shorting out at this point. I even changed the wires, the speaker wires, to make sure it wasn't those. I changed them, and that didn't work, so I know it was a board issue.
I think the batteries are dead.
Yeah, no. See, her voice just died there. Okay, number 9 on my list is Broken Spine Girl.
Where did everybody go?
Oh, just a minute.
All gone. And you're not.
For some reason, I thought that was my video.
As long as no one pulls on her and slaps her head, she'll be fine.
Where did everybody go? Oh, God. And you're not.
Okay, number 10 is jackal. Even though he's very faulty, I think he has an extremely cool look to him, and when he does work, he's a great animatronic. Okay, number 11 is Thrashing Clown. Note, this one, the piece is actually broken, so if your piece is broken on your dead humor, this is how it's going to thrash. This is not how it's supposed to thrash. It's supposed to thrash the way the other two videos I just showed you. I like a Thrashing Clown because, again, the looks and just the laughing soundtrack I actually really like. This one was broken as well. The same piece. This happened to actually, this happened to all three of my death rows. Even the one that Legendary Lucas has. That was the one that Legendary Lucas has was my original death row.
Oh, it just broke. Looks like he's lunging out of his chair.
I'm sorry, we're going to make this go a lot faster now. Those were my top favorites, so I showed a lot of videos of those, but now we'll start getting faster here. Number 12 is Dead Humor. I just like that he has a unique soundtrack, and he's a clown jump up one, so it actually scares people a lot more than the other Rising from the Graves.
Oh god. This is in the way. Okay, we'll do that again since you will. Still.
By the way, people always ask me, why does this dead humor in this video pop up so fast compared to other people's? Even though it seems like the answer is pretty obvious. It's obvious that it only has one pole connected. One of his poles snapped, so there was obviously no way to fix it. So I just had to use it with one pole, which makes less weight for it. So it's shorter and it pops up faster, but then the piece under the head, that the shoulder piece that connects into the pole, that piece snapped off later on because of how fast it jumped. Like I said, I thought the answer was quite obvious why it pops up so fast, but I guess people don't really see. I don't know, like, how can people tell that that's a lot smaller and it's only having one pole instead of two? Number 13 on my list is Rising from the Grave Corpse, both regular and fog version. They don't count as two separate props because they're the same character, just one has the fog ability. This one in this clip is the 09 version. It was sold at Menards. But this character was the original Rising from the Grave. That's why I like it so much. It's such a classic, and him and the Reaper with the blue light up face were the originals. And they were the tallest ones too. They were almost 4 feet tall, whereas the others were 3 feet, and the recent ones they've been selling are only 2 feet. And yet, the recent ones they're selling are like the ghoul last year that was sold at Spirit was $40. This was $50, and it's 2 feet taller. It's ridiculous. Well, maybe not that much taller. It's a foot taller, but it's ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, it's like I said, it's one of my favorites, and these two characters have been around since 2007. Actually, 2010 was the last year for the corpse. And this is the fog version. The face looks a little bit different, but it's still the same character.
Oh, batteries popped up.
Here's actually a video of it back in 2007. This was the first made model. And just for the hell of it, here's a video of the Reaper version. Like I said, I like these two equally because, like I said, they're the original characters of the Rising from the Grave series, and I miss these characters. Like I said, they were the tallest and the coolest ones. I like the corpse a little bit more, I think, but I still classify the Reaper as one.
See, I will try and get a website. See,
And here it is at Spirit Halloween with fog coming out of its mouth. It was broken the whole season. Like, the 2010 models were pretty faulty. The springs were very weak.
it's broken. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, it's so fogged up. Oh, even the tombstone is blowing fog.
Even the tombstone is blowing fog?
Yeah,
Cool.
even that's on. This is on.
And then the fog goes off. Yeah, it's probably just the batteries. You guys need help with anything in this class.
Okay.
Or if you notice anything else that's broken.
Well, this the first day we came. It hasn't been staying up.
Yeah, since like the very first day. Now it's not even wanting to go up.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, we tried fixing them, but then it gets too expensive for us taking them apart and then putting up new ones, and we start losing stock.
Yeah.
So we just try keeping them up as long as we can. Like her eye has been
I know.
out forever.
And she's not moving up and down.
Yeah.
Too.
Which we also. I'm not even gonna fix that right now. But no, it was actually
Okay, number 14 is the Rising Reaper with the pumpkin. He's just a classic. I love the look of the pumpkin. I love the look of the Reaper and his red eyes and his open jaw. The 2010 model is actually a little taller than the 2009 model. Um, I had both models. Like my 2009 model, the speaker started or the sound started shorting out, which is obviously the bass I'm using on my Evil Cauldron Witch, like I was saying. Then I got one in 2010, which I still have it, but the part that holds the pumpkin pole and the bass snapped, so I use Gravedigger's bass to hold up the pumpkin. And the lights of the pumpkin never worked on my 2010, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to do something about that someday, because the light of the pumpkin in the dark is one of the coolest things about the animatronic. Yeah, the creepy caretaker has the same phrases, but I like this Reaper better because, like you said, it's original. It was the original prop that had that soundtrack, and $69.99 was actually a really good price for this animatronic. It was actually, I know I said the Wild Witch was my first Spirit Halloween animatronic, but sometimes I consider this one my first Spirit animatronic because it was the first one that really got me into collecting Tekky toys and Spirit animatronics. It was part of the Graveyard series. Here's my 2009 one. You know, I like this video so much just because of the other two props going off in the background. Or, I mean, on the sides. And no, remember, at this point, Spirit Halloween animatronics didn't have volume control until 2013. Well, Wolf Spitter and Limb Ripper were like the first ones. So, this is when Guardian of the Grave and Evil Cauldron's Witch's audio is shorted out. And here's my 2010 one. See, he's way taller than my 2009 one. Way taller. And see, the pumpkin never lit up. That was like the second day I had it. It was still brand new at that point. And this is how cool the pumpkin light actually looks when it works. Number 15 is Mourning Gauri. I will show you a better video with less background sound. What I like about Mourning Gauri is that, again, she's another very unique idea. There's never been an animatronic with an umbrella like that before. I like the way she starts out all calm talking, and then the way she just starts screaming and yelling, and then the strobe lights strobe on her face. It's just really cool. She lacks movement. All she does is spin the umbrella. No mouth movement or anything, but still, I think it's cool enough for what it is. By the way, I think she's related to Gruesome Granny.
I like the flashing strobe light in her. Very cool, very detailed. Good animation. Even though it's only a spinning umbrella, but I think I like the light effects as well. And this is my favorite scene. I like this scene.
I've been waiting so long to show you what you will become!
And those are her only two sayings.
I've been waiting so long to show you what you will become!
The next one I have for you, number 16, is called Dearly Departed. Well, it goes by two different names. Her name is Dearly Departed Bride, or it's called, for the generic name, it's Splitting Tombstone Bride. This is probably the most unrecognizable Tekky product for most modern day kids or people. This was a 2010 online-only Spirit Halloween animatronic, and probably Tekky's rarest animatronic at the time being. Pretty close to Evil Cauldron Witch, but still I think a lot more rare than even Evil Cauldron Witch and Resurrection Mary. Those are both up there in the rarity. One day, I never had a chance to own this one, and I wanted it so bad, to the point where one day in school I had a panic attack over it. It was crazy. It retailed for $110, which isn't bad, I guess, compared to what they're charging for these things nowadays. Now, it's very hard to hear what she's saying, but the camera quality was bad back in the day. I don't even think they were making iPhones yet. I think iPod Touches were just coming out at that point, like the first ones. And buycostumes.com sold that as well, and there was a video on that site where you could hear her audio much more clear than what these other videos show. Here's Spirit's video of it. By the way, she has the same red bloodlight in her head that Resurrection Mary had, which is also why I really like it, because that looks so cool in the dark. Also, I forgot to mention, she was one of those props that had a timer mode that went off every minute and 30 seconds. 2000, 2010, 2011, and some 2012 props. Actually, all 2010 and 2012 Tekky through 2012 Tekky props had timers, pretty much. But in 2013, Limb Eating Zombie Boy was the only Tekky prop that had a timer, and after that, they stopped completely with the timers. And she had a fog capability hookup, so you could put a fog machine next to her and fog would blow through the tombstone and rise above her face, just like the chain to the grave.
Set off by either a timer or by a loud sound such as a clap. If you have any additional questions, please visit our website at techytoys.com for hints and troubleshooting, downloadable PDF instruction sheets, and setup videos.
My bad. The Dearly Departed Bride was actually 120, I believe, not 110. Number 17 is the Hovering Ghost. Now, I realized that actually, what I'm about, I actually like all. What the fuck? I'm sorry about that. As I was saying, I actually like all three versions of these that were made. Yeah, three versions. Remember, 2009 through 2011, they rise up first and then hover. 2012 to present day, because they're still making them, they reprogrammed them. And they rise and hover at the same time, but they don't go up and down as much. Like, the 2009 through 2011 model goes up and down the whole activation until it's over. Whereas, like I said, the new version I think only goes up and down like 2 or 3 times, kind of like the remake Demonica. It didn't go up and down as much. And then, of course, the life-size hovering ghost, which was made in 2011 and 12. And, of course, they made both versions of those two. But still, it's a life-size, and I count that as one. So technically 3 versions I count it as. But all in all, there's 4 versions. But either way, whatever. Anyways, in 2010, they were sold at Target. And 2009, they were sold at Spirit. Well, they were sold at Spirit in 2010 as well. They were $50 at Spirit back then. It was $40 at Target. And at did I say it was? I think I already said it was $40 at Target, and now it's $60. And the life size one was $130. And the 2009 model moves a lot faster than the 2010 model, which I have owned both. I accidentally fried the sound on my first one because I plugged in a 12 volt. See how many times it did that same routine soundtrack at the end when it was retracting? They fixed that on the remake one, and it only does that soundtrack once. It resets in. Here's the '09 model. And this is when the sound was fried, by the way. You can hear it a little bit. So I just showed you the 2010 and 09 model. Now, this is the version that is reprogrammed that's been selling since 2012 to this very present day. No, remember, the other one went up and down non-stop the whole activation, and it kept looping the same soundtrack over and over. That's what a lot of Tekky toys, old Tekky props did, like the Rising from the Graves, but they always change. The ones that they're still selling, they change them to make sure that they retract in time so that they don't keep looping the sound over and over again. But I still like the original one more, I think. But you can tell me what you think. How it moves in this video is how they move to this present day. Yep, see? It only goes up twice. Whereas the old model, the original model, went up and down the whole activation, like, I swear to God, like almost 10 times. Actually, the old one, it depended on the relay switch and how fast it was moving. Depending on how fast it was moving is what controlled how many times it went up and down. If it didn't hit the relay switch, when rising all the way up, it doesn't continue to hover or move at all. It just sits there with its eyes lighting up. This one, it doesn't have to hit the relay switch to continue to move. So if the batteries were dying in the other Ghost, it wouldn't go up and down as many times. But if the batteries were fresh, like that 09 one was, it goes up and down a ton of times. Like I said, it relied on the relay switch. That's probably why they reprogrammed it in the first place. It probably ended up being too faulty that way, because the motor probably got too hot for it to move that much, which is probably why they changed it. So this is the life-size one, and like I said, this is the 2012 model with the reprogrammed movement. I got it at Party America for 130 bucks in 2015. There was two of them. I was looking for another one for Bailey because he wanted one, but they were gone now. But it was still there last year in 2016. This is the 2011 model, the old programmed one. What I really like about the hovering ghost is that it's a classic ghost, and I don't know, the evil eyes just look badass. And once again, this is the reprogrammed model. Okay, so number 18 on my list is the Lurching Vampire. Both the 2010 and 2011 models, they're both pretty much the same, except the 2011 model is actually taller. And I mean, they look a little different, but I still consider them the same prop. The reason for the Demonicas, I chose number 1, 2010, and 2, 2011 is because they're both completely different props. They're nowhere close to being the same. Whereas the Lurching Vampire still has the same exact movement. Like, both ears have the same exact movement, animation. One is just a little bit taller is all. And the 2011 one, the hands came zip tied to the chest, so you couldn't pose them unless you cut the zip tie. Whereas the 2010 model, it didn't come twist tied. And the 2010 one had poles where you twist to lock it into place, and the 2011 one is a snap to lock into place. And the 2010 one, the poles snapped like crazy. Like, literally, the one at our store, the pole snapped on the fourth activation, which was actually caught on camera. What's cool about the Lurching Vampire is that it's the tallest jump scare prop made. Well, by Tekky, and the fastest one. I mean, the Lurching Zombie is cool, but the Seasonal Visions, but like, this one's a lot faster. And it's really cool because the way the eyes and the mouth open. Yeah, so the Lurching Vampire was 6 feet tall. I believe the 2010 one was actually only 5 feet tall. And then this is Spirit's demo video. Actually, this one's a prototype. You can kind of tell. It looks way different. And I didn't include this in the prototype video, but I didn't know what much to say about it. See, like, look at how much longer it took for it to retract than the actual released version. Plus, it leans back a lot further than the released version as well. And like I said, the eyes and mouth are probably the coolest thing about the Lurching Vampire, because when you see that they're closed, you don't expect them to open. This is how far he lurches if you don't connect the support poles and the cable on that attaches to his neck. But keep note that this really puts tension on its poles, which is why mine is basically going to snap probably the next time I use it. Because mine's leaning to the side, and I think the gears are worn out because it doesn't go back as far. I recently connected the cable, but it doesn't lurch very far anymore. So actually, it doesn't retract very far, so it's wearing out.
But I have doubles of those two at my
Oh my
grandpa's house in excellent condition. But it's on my other channel. And I'm gonna be quiet now.
I don't know why that happened. What the
myself, you know what, go for it.
There's a great...
The vampire. Holy.
Turn on the
Oh yeah, also, since the 2010 Lurching Vampires poles were twist-a-lock into place, this is what happened most of the time.
Take a picture of me.
I did already. You're there? Yeah, puppy.
Don't worry guys, this is the last part for the Lurching Vampire.
Yeah, he's $130 though.
Yeah, you don't have enough money for him today, do you?
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure the 2010 model is not as tall as the 2011 model, because
I bet
I
the
was,
other one's gonna be going
it,
then.
it looks like I was close to his height at this point, but when I got him in 2011, the 2011 one is way taller than me, and his hands look a lot flatter too.
Oh, see? His eyes. Oops, sorry.
That little kid is scared of that stuff.
Ah. I want him when he's on sale, when he's not $130. Ah. Yeah, it is. He broke.
And that is the end of Lurching Vampire. Honestly, I think one of the workers thought I broke it because he was probably wondering how it broke that fast. Like I said, the 4th activation. Like, that's how bad the poles were on the 2010 model. Because he gave me kind of a bad look, and I told him that it was broken. They tried taping the poles, but obviously that didn't work. Too top heavy. Okay, we are down to 2 more, and then I'm going to just do some quick honorable mentions that I would choose if I wasn't doing the top 20 after 20. Anyways, number 19 is Damien. You're probably surprised he's not lower on the list, but yeah, like I said, the one that I'm recording on the screen here on your left-hand side is the prototype model. In this video, I had it named 2011, but remember, he got canceled in 2011 because they did the remake Demonica, I think. Well, and they didn't get orders that year. The shading of the color is different. The face is a little different. The one on the right is obviously the released version. They both moved differently. The one on the left, the prototype, moved its head the whole activation pretty much, just like the 2010 Demonica, whereas the released version doesn't turn his head as much, just like the remake Demonica. So these were both completely different. Did you see how much more the head moved on the prototype one? They were timed exactly the same too. They had the same soundtrack as well. So they really changed it. Because that head on that moved just as much as the 2010 Demonica. It's crazy, honestly. Because like the head looks side to side as it's going up and down, and it goes up and down a lot more, whereas the 2012 one, it doesn't turn its head side to side as it's going up really, and they have a pause before they start rising again, whereas as soon as it goes back down, it starts rising again.
And I will show you again because, oh. No.
And this was my first one that was fried right away. This is the one that Legendary Lucas now has, and it no longer lifts its head because that fried as well. Now, don't get me wrong, the Howler is cool as well, but I still like Demonica and Damien a bit more. However, I think I can agree that the Howler is number 23. And finally, number 20, Rosemary.
Her head goes up further. Bah!
Oh.
So her eyes are working as well, and here will go her lurch. And that's good lurching. Very good lurching. Eyes glowing. And munches on that brain. She is a hungry girl. Fantastic.
Taller than I thought she would be.
For some reason, this Rosemary looks Asian to me. I don't know why.
Just in case you got anything.